Welcome to These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. I'm Lawrence Afan, sitting here with...
I'm Kevin Horde.
Hey, we're going to talk about Defenders of Peace. This one originally aired on January 23rd, 2009. This is Season 1, Episode 14 of Clone Wars, correct?
Yeah. Correct. I've got a production code of 124 with 2.17 million viewers.
Ew, interesting. Have we ever discussed, relatively speaking, what's good ratings for Cartoon Network, at least?
I think we kind of touched on viewers in one previous episode. I'm not really sure which one, but recently I went through and tracked down the number of viewers for each and every episode of the Clone Wars. So,
nice. Yeah.
Except for, ironically, they do not have viewer numbers for the Clone Wars movie. It's just a dollar amount.
Dollar amount.
Which is
the United States doesn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
68.3 million.
That's a good amount.
Yeah.
Is that worldwide or domestic?
I don't know. That might be that's probably worldwide.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot for just United States.
Yep.
For what was essentially a glorified pilot release in theaters.
Yep.
Yeah. No, United States, for whatever reason, does not do attendance figures. Other countries do. But United States, we like to count our money. So.
Do you know the reason behind that?
I've never looked directly into why we look at box office figures rather than actual tickets sold.
Right.
Because this has caused interesting issues before where this is a 15-year-old example, but Minority Report and Lilo and Stitch came out in the same weekend.
Okay.
And they were neck and neck in terms of, like, box office figures.
Right.
I don't remember the exact figure, but let's just say they were, like, within a few $1,000 of $50 million each, right?
Okay.
And Minority Report did end up coming out number one, like, just barely. But even Steven Spielberg was like, well, children's tickets cost less, so the real winner is actually Lilo and Stitch, if you think about it. Like,
right.
More people would have seen Lilo and Stitch because you have to sell that many more children's tickets to make up for that figure.
Right, because a child's ticket is like 0.8 of an adult's ticket.
Exactly.
Or whatever however the math worked out back then.
Exactly. So it's one of those interesting things that I never quite understood either. Because if you think about it too, like, attendance figures don't inflate per se.
Right.
Like you don't have to worry about.
If 50 million people saw Star Wars in 1977 at $1 a ticket, and 50 million people saw The Last Jedi at $2 a ticket, like, The Last Jedi is going to have $100 million instead of $50 million, but it's still 50 million people.
Yeah, exactly. So I never understood why we went by dollar amount rather than box office figures. There are just a few things where like if you look at like inflation rates or whatever, like Gone with the Wind is still number one overall all time.
Really?
But it's because the culture of moviegoing has also changed over the years, right?
Right. How many movies? So, when did Gone with the Wind come out?
That would be 39.
That's what
1939. And also, that's before home video,
Right.
That's before anybody did anything at home, essentially. So,
and also, how many other movies can you name that came out in 1939?
Wizard of Oz and... No, Snow White's 37. Casablanca's 41. Yeah. There's a few, but...
Right, a couple.
There's a couple. But no, so to your point, that's exactly what happened. Like, only a handful of movies come out per year. They stay in theaters for months. People just keep watching them over and over because there's nothing else to do with your life in the late 1930s.
Right.
In Depression era United States, right?
Right.
And then because there's no home video, it's like 5 years later, you go, oh, you know what was a great movie that I would love to see again? Gone with the Wind. And then, like, you open the newspaper and they're like, guess what? Gone with the Wind's coming back in theaters. And you're like, oh, shit. awesome. And then 10 years later, like in the mid 40s or late 50s or late 40s or whatever, same thing. You're just like, oh, it's been a while since I've seen that Gone with the Wind. Oh shit, it's coming back in theaters again. Yay. Like,
so real quick side note before we get back to talking about viewership of the Clone Wars is in 1939 when Gone with the Wind came out. My grandfather was the same age that my oldest daughter is currently.
Ew. So your grandfather is older than my grandfather. So my grandfather was born in 33.
24.
Wow. Wowza.
And he's still around.
God bless.
And he texted me the other day.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think of noteworthy movies that came out in 24, but that's silent era. That's hard to pull, man.
That's a long time.
That's a hard one to think of, because I know 33 is King Kong. That's the major milestone marker of 33. 24, you're probably talking maybe the Gold Rush, but I'm thinking Gold Rush is 26. Maybe Modern Times.
Sherlock Jr., The Navigator, The Thief of Baghdad, Alita, The Iron Horse, He Who Gets Slapped, Girl Shy, The Last Laugh, Greed.
So
Beau
Sherlock Jr.
Brummel,
is Buster Keaton.
The Marriage Circle, The Seahawk.
Yeah, Thief of Baghdad and Sherlock Jr. for sure would be the big ones that year.
Dante's Inferno. That was a Fox film, it looks like.
There was a silent adaptation of Dante's Inferno. That sounds like a thing that would have happened back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sound wasn't even introduced until 27, so your grandfather predates sound being attached to movies. So
that's insane.
I just want to put that out there. Because then even, just to put things in perspective, the Chinese theater in L.A., in Hollywood, opened in 1926. It was being built in 25. There's the Fifth Avenue Theater in Seattle was opened in 25. The Egyptian might have been around that time, 24, 25. So, yeah. I'm a weird well of random Hollywood information, so.
Yes, you are.
So, anyways, getting back to
the Clone Wars. 2.17 million viewers on
yes.
Cartoon Network,
Cartoon
right?
Network, yes.
This is good. This is not good. This is average.
I don't know. 2 million people sounds like a good amount, right? Like,
yeah, it sounds pretty good to me.
I mean, like what? At the top end of the spectrum, you have Super Bowl, which does like 100 million viewers, right?
Right. So
like on an average night, 2 million for like a cable show, right? I think it's fine. And this is, I mentioned the air date, January 23rd, 2009. So yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Anyways, moving forward, the fortune cookie is: when surrounded by war, one must eventually choose a side.
Did you decide who this quote came from?
I did not. I did not think about this, but this one, oh, it feels like a Qui-Gon kind of quote.
I think you nailed it. I put down.
Really?
I got Qui-Gon as well. So, if we're in agreement on that, we can just move on. It just seems like something that he would say. You know, he's not going to be wishy-washy about it. Just like, hey, when it happens, it happens, and you
just got to jump in.
You got to pick a side.
Yeah, we're going to throw this kid into a super dangerous pod race to try and get off this planet. Do it, kid. Like, let's go. right? Like, we're just going to do whatever it takes. So,
blue cube, red cube, chance cube, whatever.
We'll let fate decide, eh? Like, is that the quote?
I believe it is.
So, anyways, we are coming off of the episode Jedi Crash, which closed out the story at hand in that episode, but we are still on the planet of Maridun.
Maridun?
Maridun. Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know. I've got a note that says that they say it in the newsreel, and I wrote it down, and I got no phonetic.
And
information on that. I think it's Maridun.
Maridun?
Maridun?
Maridun, correct?
I've got Maridan.
Oh, well then. I wonder where I wonder if I pulled mine off of again, we've had this issue before. Wikipedia and sometimes the closed captioning will spell things differently. And
Correct.
I don't always double check with Wikipedia sometimes. So we're still on the planet. Anakin is in recovery mode after the injuries he suffered in the last episode, but he's recovering. Meanwhile, Tiwat Ka is still kind of being a pain in the butt about the Jedi presence and how they're going to bring war upon them and all that stuff, right? And
right, absolutely.
Yeah. And then while this is happening, Rex sees that a separatist droid ship is on its way and informs Commander Bly, and then that only gives Tiwat Ka like fuel for his like stance and his, you know.
Yeah, my note for that was Old Man Lurmen's pissed.
Yes, basically. Yeah. So with the droid ship coming, his son is like, look, there's no way. Or the Jedi and his son are like, there's no way the separatists would have known that they're here. Like, they just landed here. Like, it wasn't public knowledge or anything. So you can't blame the Jedi for this one, right? Like, war's literally everywhere. So it's due time that it's going to spread to this planet. But nonetheless, Tiwat Ka is like, sorry, guys, you got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I think Isla Sakura is also like, they don't know we're here yet, and they can't find out that we're here. Like, let's boogie. We'll see you later. Yeah. Before that, did you catch the Lurmen carrying their little Lurmen boxes around? Since we don't have like clones carrying clone boxes, we've got
there are more boxes being shuffled around. Like
they're baskets, and they're actually baskets of fruit. And it turns out that they're Jogan fruit, which is. I recognize them from Rebels in the future.
Oh, I did not make that connection.
Yeah, there's at least one or two storylines centered around finding some Jogan fruit on where is
Lothal?
Lothal. I was like Loth something.
Lothcats? The Lothcats. Yeah.
I need the Lothcats.
The planet of the Lothcats.
The planet of the Lothcats. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because we get a scene of a clone sees some of the fruit, and then the Lurmen like offers it to him, right?
Yeah, the Lurmen are like carrying a basket, and they're like stacking it like 3 high, and one of the clones like it's Commander Bly like helps them stack the basket on the top, and, like one falls out, and they pick it up and hand it to him. He's like, yummy, delicious Jogan fruit.
And bites right into it.
He doesn't actually say that.
Do we have... This brought up a thought that I had.
Okay.
Is food universal?
As far as, like, digestibility?
Yeah, or, like, edibility, right? Like dogs can't eat chocolate.
Right. So then no.
So, but, like... In the Star Wars universe, yeah, right? Like, because it threw me off, like, I'm just curious about how long the humans of this universe knew that fruit was fine for consumption as the Lurmen are, like, pulling them around, right?
Yeah, I mean, you also got to think that, like, in terms of time scale,
yeah,
it's a lot longer than the time scale that we recognize on planet Earth. You know, because like just the Jedi have been around for like 1,000 generations, and even if you like, how long is a generation? 20 years,
like something like that. Yeah.
So that's 10 or 1,000 generations, 20,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
like that's just the Jedi.
Okay. Yeah. So like evolutionarily speaking, like everybody's kind of digestively gotten on into the same menu.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm saying that more so than I'm saying that they've had enough time to figure out what they can eat and what they can't eat.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I was just more curious about like what the menu at, say, like the Gunga Diner,
Dexter's Diner.
Dexter's Diner, yeah, would look like in terms of having to appease to all the various species and dietary needs. And
well, they got Jawa juice, and I know it was a big discussion on Star Wars Minute whether or not Jawa juice was like juice for Jawas or juice of Jawa.
Of Jawas, yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
it's a very good point.
I mean, when you make apple juice made out of apples,
juice made out of apples, yeah.
When you got Jogan fruit juice, it's juice of Jogan.
Yeah. So I guess somebody's grinding up Jawas in the back, like.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, C-3PO was barbecuing some back in the day.
It was a big old Jack LaLanne juicer of Jawas.
That's right.
So, yeah. Anyways, that was just like a small moment where I was just like, wait a second. How do you keep track of all the shit you can and cannot eat in this expansive universe?
I think that you just kind of figure it out, and when in doubt, eat your little food pellets that you brought with you.
Just take a little bite and then move on. Just leave it alone.
Yep.
Anyway, so what comes up next year?
Enter General Lock Durd.
Yes, Lock Durd, which is an interesting name.
I thought it was too close to Lot Dodd, to be honest.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I kept like there's a few times where I started writing Lot and then I had to scribble out and
I kept writing Lock Dirk.
Yeah, it's an awkward name. I don't know. Do you know anything about the background of the name?
No.
Yeah, it's just a weird name. But he is voiced by George Takei. There is no mistaking that.
That is very, very true.
As soon as he stepped off the ship. Hello. I am General Lock Durd.
Oh, my.
Oh, my.
I'm surprised I didn't get an oh, my in this episode.
I know, right? But...
So, did you know that General Lock Durd does have a slight connection to Rogue One?
Does he really?
He does indeed.
What's the connection?
He was part of a prisoner exchange with the Confederacy of Independent Systems to secure the release of Galen Erso, Lyra Erso, and the baby Jyn Erso from imprisonment on Valet.
Interesting. Where does that information appear? One of the books, like Lost Stars, or not Lost Stars?
That is from the canon section of Wikipedia or Wikipedia. In his intro paragraph. So he was taken into custody by Republic forces, and then later Durd, along with Nuvo Vindi, who is a character that we will meet here in a couple of weeks, were part of Lieutenant Commander Orson Krennic's original plans for a prison exchange with the Confederacy of Independent Systems.
All right. Yeah. This universe is getting crazy. That's what I like about Rogue One. Rogue One makes the good connections. It's a good...
So... It looks like that comes from Catalyst, a Rogue One novel.
Yes, that was the one I was trying to think of. I could remember Rebel Rising, but I could not remember the actual main book.
So I have not read any of the new canon. How does that work? Is there like multiple Rogue One novels, or is it like Rogue One series of novels?
Nope, there are just multiple standalone novels that all deal with auxiliary... I can't speak anymore. Ancillary issues, stuff that's happening around Rogue One. Like there's a small little book called The Guardians of the Wills that deals with shit, man, my brain is dead.
Chirrut Imwe?
Yeah, Imwe and
don't ask me what his partner's name is because I never remember.
Dang it, what's his name? Chirrut, and it starts with a B. Who's gonna get this?
Probably you, because I'm giving up.
Dang it.
While you look that up, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about what's going on. We got Lock Derd. He kind of enters and he rolls up to.
It's Baze. God damn it.
Baze, B-A-Z-E.
Yes, I knew it was a B. It was coming. It was coming back. That one I've read. There's a small little book. Like if you sit down, it'll take you like a weekend, if that, to finish it.
Right.
It's really cute. It's definitely a book written for like 10 and under, but it provides really good information on their like relationship and how they're friends. And
see, this makes me want to delve a little bit into the new canon, the way that I used to with the old canon or with the old EU. I don't even know if what level of canon that was or whatever. But I really like Rogue One. Chirrut is one of my favorite characters because he's just freaking awesome. So I will have to look more into that.
Yeah, read that book, Guardians of the Whills. I haven't read all these Star Wars books, but that is one of the rare ones I have read. So
yeah, I'll have to pick that one up.
I've only read like 3 or 4 of them, so yeah.
So we got Tiwat Ka,
yes,
who comes up to talk to Lock Derd, and Derd basically says, "Hey, congratulations, you're under the protection of the Separatist now." Does he call him the Separatist, or does he call him the Confederation of Independent Systems?
You know what?
I feel like he calls him the Separatist.
I think
like the Separatist Alliance or something like that.
Yeah, which is good. They know what they are, right?
Yeah,
they're self-aware.
They're cool.
Yeah,
and so they have a little conversation about whether or not Tiwat Ka and his kind are better off with Lock Derd there or not. Lock Derd is basically just pushing him to the side and continuing on. And he's like, "Yeah, you're better." Now you're being protected, and you're better that we're here. And Tiwat's like, "Nah, I mean, we were good before you were here." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
And then proceeds to
walk on. He says something to the effect of, "I want to check out my new colony."
Yeah.
And then ransack this dung heap.
Yeah, like I like how blunt he was. Like just ransack this shit. Just.
Yeah, so the battle droids are just walking around like blasty blasting everything, and they had enough time for this giant separatist ship to land, open up, have the general come down from the bridge, unload a shit ton of battle droids, come out, meet Tiwat Ka, have a little conversation, take over the village, and start blasting stuff up, and the Jedi have made it outside of their giant seed hut and around to the back of it.
Yeah, like they're still in the grass behind it, essentially.
They're not even to the grass yet because they're like peeking around the side, and Ahsoka's talking to Tiwat's son, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? And she says something to the effect of, they're programmed for destruction. That's all they know. And Anakin's like, yeah, and we better get the fuck out of here. Like, let's get to the long grass, which is like 30 meters away or something.
If that. Like, they've been looking at it the entire time, I guess.
Yeah, so they should have ran, like, over there and hid. But,
nope.
Whatever. That's what they do. They hightail it out to the grass, and they end up out in, like, just kind of an open field area, right?
Something like that, yeah. So, while this is happening, Wag 2 does return to talk to Tiwat Ka, right? To his father.
And yeah, because they got their ship blown up, and then Lock Derd goes back to the ship, right?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, so like all the droids kind of retreat a little bit after everything's on fucking fire, right? And Wag 2 is kind of pissed that Tiwat Ka is just going along with this, and he's not resisting at all.
So and how do you feel? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, but Tiwat Ka is like maintaining this position that he's just like, oh, this is just how life is, and we just have to go along with it, and we're not going to do anything about it. Like, these people want to start shooting shit up. Well, then that's just how it's going to be, and we're going to die, and that's just, there's nothing to be done.
So how do you feel about his argument? Are you compelled to agree with him, or are you compelled to agree with Wag 2?
Wag 2, like, without question, yeah. Just the idea that this guy, there are these outside forces And I'm not saying that he's going to be able to defeat them all if he just like rises up or whatever, but just the fact that he just says that there's nothing that he can do to take his own destiny into his own hands is just beyond ridiculous to me.
Yeah, and I felt even more so than that. It's not even like there's nothing that they can do, but they should do nothing no matter what.
Yeah.
And
it was just a weird stance.
Wag 2 is like, look, like we got to help ourselves here because there's no one else to help us. And these people are invaders, and they're coming into our space, and they done blowed up our houses and shit. Exactly. So they're not here for peace. They're here to take over. And Tiwat Ka's like, so be it then. Like, whatever.
Great. Moving on. Yeah, that's how he operates. And that's definitely it's very purposeful, and yet it is still very frustrating to watch. Right. Like it's his character, but it's just one of those, like, I see what they're doing and I get it. It's still just a frustrating thing to watch expire out. Right?
Yeah, this argument continues throughout the episode, so I'm interested to see if we can see any progression in it, or if it's just kind of like the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, we'll revisit this basically at the end, because they also do as well. So let's just move on here, yeah?
Yep, so Tiwaka and Wag 2 are arguing, and then we cut over to our heroes debating the Lurmen actions, much in the same way that Tiwaka and Wag 2 are. And we got this nice little like camera pan shot that's around the outside of the grasses.
Yeah.
So they're in kind of a little clearing, and Steven Spielberg's kind of one section of grasses back. So there are grasses in between the camera and our hero crew, and it kind of pans around them in a semicircle while they're talking, which I thought was really nice. It's good to see some artistic choices going on in the cinematography of these shows, where it's not just cut to these people talking. Now there's action, like pan back, show a wide shot, zoom in. There's actually other things going on.
I agree.
It was a very nice cinematic moment, as opposed to just, hey, we're an animated show.
Like, here it goes. Like, we're just going to throw this out there. Especially with Star Wars, because you could get lazy and just kind of depend on hoping that people are just going to go along with it because it's Star Wars, right? But then you get people like me who, for the first, what are we talking about, like 20 episodes, I was like thumbs down most of the way.
For quite a few of them.
Yes. Few would be an understatement, I think. But I agree, because like the oneer, when done well, can provide context and kind of keep tension going. When done poorly, it just drags on for far too long, right? But this, I agree with you. I remember the shot. It's handled well, especially in a CG show. It's interesting that a lot of these camera moves you'll see more often in animation, because prior to the CG revolution of the late 90s, the oneer was a lot more impressive because there was a physical camera moving through space, and that was very difficult to try and stitch together.
Right.
But nowadays you can do things like virtual cameras and stitching two separate shots together, things like that, right?
Right. Hence,
or
Birdman.
hiding cuts. Yeah, Birdman especially. Yeah, like hiding cuts, things like that. But in animation, if you go back, even just the early 90s, of that one shot from Beauty and the Beast of just the camera floating through the ballroom, was just like, yeah, it's a big cinematic moment, because that wasn't a move that was quite possible before, right? Or in live action per se. So just the fluidity of
it had this majestic beauty to and cinematic quality within an animated feature that was ahead of its time.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this camera move here is ahead of its time, but
no, just Just that it is
but it was
cool
done well.
when people do get into creative camera motions and stuff like that, because I think we've talked about this. It's, to me, movies and films and TVs, it's not just the story, but it's how it's told too. So that includes sound, camera movements, lighting, all that shit, right? So
Right.
So, anyways, moving on.
So I have one question about this.
Yeah.
What is Ahsoka eating? Is it a banana? Is it a cheese stick? Like, she's chomping on something, and it looks somewhat like a banana, but it's got like the consistency of like a hunk of cheese.
I wonder if it's like a is it like a potato maybe? Like
some sort of tuber?
Yeah, like just some thick fibrous plant maybe, like, so it's not a fruit, but maybe it's a
It might even just be a stick. I don't even know. But it's
again,
lighter in color. And it's like all one color, so even when she like bites into it, it's like the same color, much like a banana or a cheese stick.
Yeah.
Or a piece
maybe
of bologna.
Like, yeah. Or just something thick like I don't know, like jicama. I don't know. Like
jicama would be
like
the
that
right
dense, right?
Shape or the right texture and color, but the wrong shape.
Yes, but just something of that nature, right?
Right. So I think this probably goes back to your question of what do people eat? Because I mean, she doesn't have a Jogan fruit. She's just got her miscellaneous protein fuel stick that she keeps in her belt or something.
That's a good question. We'll have to see what she is eating and maybe revisit this topic and figure out the dietary needs of all the different alien species of.
I think I might go into a little bit of a rabbit hole on Wikipedia and start looking at foods.
Good luck.
But not right now.
Good luck. All right.
So everybody kind of shares their opinion of what the Lurmen are doing and why.
Yes.
And Anakin's opinion of it is essentially like, we need to find a ship and get out of here. So that made me think of something that I saw on like a review of this. Mm-hmm. Tiwat Ka's like, hey, you got to get out of here, right? Like, leave. And then they leave, and he sends Wag 2 with them, or Wag 2 sends somebody with them, right? Another Lurmen.
Without the Jedi knowing, he tells a friend to kind of keep an eye on them.
He says make sure they get off planet, but they don't have a ship to get off planet. They don't have a way to get off planet.
Yeah.
Like, that's why they were there.
Because they
were trying to find... Well, and that's why they like found the Lurmen, because they were trying. Anakin was hurt. They needed help. They find a civil, intelligent people that can help them. He's healed by Wag 2. Then they're like hanging out, being friends, and they're like, "Yeah, we need to get off planet. Like, can we borrow your cell phone?" And they're like, "No, we don't have cell phones."
Yeah,
and they're like, "Okay, you got like a telegraph or something?" And Tiwat Ka's like, we refuse to do anything with anyone except for fucking sit here and talk about how we won't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, there was a whole argument on whether or not they should even help Anakin. They're like, nah, it's just your fate to die. That's all it is.
Right.
Like, sorry, bro. You still gonna die. Like, that's it. So, I wonder if, with the Separatists coming, if Wag 2 is like, well, maybe they can figure something out or just hide out with them. I was kind of figuring that it was just somebody that forgot, whoever was writing this, just it was a line flub. Mm-hmm. Like, instead of saying get off thing, right? Instead of saying get off planet, they should have been like, make sure they go hide in the grass and don't, and nobody can see them. Just make sure they're safe.
Bury them with dirt if you need to, or dig a hole. I don't really know.
Graves. I don't know. But
so we've got a tracking droid that shows up.
Yes.
And then we get a little droid chase, which is also kind of confusing because it's like weaving through the grasses and everybody takes off after it. And the last two to leave are Isla Secura and Anakin. Anakin's like, oh, my ribs, I can't run. And I was like, you all right? And he's like, no, go. And then all of a sudden she's in front of him and just like chops the droid in half because
She goes around or something. Like,
I don't really know. It's
because she separates. She holds back because it's Rex and Commander Bly and Ahsoka are running off of it, running behind it.
And they're like, oh, if it gets out in the open, we're fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
But it could fly up, and then they'd be fucked. But instead, they're like weaving through the grasses, and then either way, Ilo's like out in front, chops that thing in half, and they happen to be like right at the bottom of this tree.
Yeah.
And
then they're trying to figure out what it was headed towards. They weren't even sure what a scout droid was doing out that way.
Right.
And then from the tree or something like that, they noticed that a base has been set up.
Yeah, where did this thing come from?
Yeah, seemingly overnight, if anything, or within the last maybe 30 seconds of not Lockdurd showing up. Like a big-ass base.
PDQ.
Is totally just set up. Yeah.
And it's like it's not even just a base. There's like a base, and then there's like landing platforms, and the whole thing's like fortified with walls around it, and there's fucking tanks and battle droids out the ass. Like, I was looking at this thing, and I was like, there's more materials like put into building this thing than would fit inside like the landing ship that they came down on.
Oh yeah.
So do they just like have it built in space, and they just like and just like drop it down like onto the ground?
Probably. It's kind of the same question I had of like Last Jedi, like where that giant cannon come from.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason they were rolling it very far to get it up to the thing, but why didn't they just
land closer?
Yeah, land closer than dragging this thing across that planet. So
I just watched The Last Jedi last night.
Yeah. So they're just dragging across Crate and just fucking up the salt is what's on top, I believe. There's salt and there's like red sand underneath. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. These are the logistical questions that we ponder and have no answers for. So.
My answers were that there was a commercial break here, and that extends the time frame to be long enough for them to be able to build this thing.
So they built it and then brought in the extra like tanks and droids, or did that all just come down with it like a giant UFO?
The tanks and the droids were on the landing ship.
Okay.
And this thing came down like some giant cube thing, and when it hit the ground, it just like unfolds like some
like the Mars rover or something.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like a picnic blanket when Goofy takes his kid to the park or something. Yeah. You know, like the Mickey Mouse shows up with this basket and like pulls out a picnic blanket and just like drops it, and it's just like bloop,
and all like the wine and sandwiches, everything like
wine, sandwiches, candlesticks, like everything.
Yeah, everything's there. Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense.
I think that's what it is.
That logic will apply here, I guess, because there's none other to be applied. Like,
so obviously the first thing that Anakin sees is like a shuttle, like in the middle of all of this fortitude, and Bly, through binoculars or a viewfinder, definitely points out that there are no flaws in their security line. So, kudos to them for being able to pick those out from a couple hundred meters away, and
also for them to build that overnight or within the last 30 minutes,
right,
or however long
during the commercial break,
and have no flaws in the system. I'd
no
say
flaws.
Yeah,
they are flawless. Flawless victory.
How many flaws? None.
Zero.
Are you sure about that? No.
Like, it took 19 years to build a fucking Death Star, and it had one flaw.
Exactly.
But it had to be designed.
Nobody noticed.
It had to be designed in.
Yeah. Like, there were no underlings that would have caught sight of that weird flaw that's very, very obvious. But, okay. Sure. Like, are you sure you don't want to check the backside of this place? No. No flaws.
Nope.
Not at all. So.
Did you also catch that this tree is, even though like everything is like a flat like rolling plane, is like way the fuck up in the sky, like looking down on the shit.
Yeah, like they weren't for a hot second. I thought they were on a cliff,
but they're not.
Because they would have to be like a few hundred feet up for the angles that they're looking at the space.
Because they can look like down in past the ramparts and shit into the interior of Ned Stark's castle.
Yeah, like I was taking a note. I looked up and I was like, okay, they're on like a tree on the edge of a cliff. Nope, not at all. No, they're just in the tree. Okay, sure. Yeah, it's weird. That one's weird. I agree that point is weird. But yeah.
So the clones go in for a look, and at this point, it looks like Bly is like ordering Captain Rex around. So then I just had a note that's like, does Bly outrank Rex? Does Rex outrank Bly? Like,
well, Rex
is captain and Bly is commander.
Yeah.
Right? But Cody's a commander.
Well, 2 commanders would just be like a lateral move, right? But so then...
I think so.
So then Rex... But yeah, so is captain's lower than commander, yeah?
I guess so.
And then... Yeah, so Rex is just like, okay, cool. What do you need, Bly?
So who does Bly belong to? Ayla? Sakura?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know, yeah. Yeah, because Bly just shows up in these 2 episodes, right? He wasn't in the one prior to that or anything. Was he?
So. I think it was just the last one and this one.
Yeah. So he shows up. Yeah, he's probably on Isla's team. Because that's how, like, so Ahsoka was with Isla on Isla's ship, correct?
Yes.
So maybe Bly came from whatever team was on that before they got blowed up in the crash. So.
Yeah. So they would have came from, like, that Star Destroyer up in the reaches of space, floating around.
Yes.
On the planet.
Yeah. So then...
Going into atmosphere.
Yeah. So then even though they're not in the same company, they're just following chain of command still, right?
Sounds like it.
Right. So, like, when shit goes all full, like, snafu, right? They're just like, oh, well, Rex is with me now, I guess. Like, hey, Rex, go in there. Great.
Cheerio. You go. I'll stay. We'll watch.
Fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
The last thing I got to say about this tree for right now is Anakin couldn't, like, jog after the chaser droid, right?
Yeah.
But
the scout droid, yes.
But he can climb 800 feet up a tree.
Hey, that's... You know, he probably slowly climbed up, but the full exertion of a full sprint after this scout droid is... That's where the line is drawn, right?
I know, personally, for me, it is way easier to fucking climb trees than it is to jog.
Whereas I'm the opposite. I cannot climb a tree to save my life, I don't think, so.
Right.
I haven't been able to do it. I don't like climbing trees. I just don't do it. But I can run. I can run well. Like, not sprint or anything, but, you know, a nice, even pace. I'll run for a while.
I swing from vines like monkeys and
like
and Mutt Williams.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf.
So Lock Durd unveils his new weapon.
Yes.
With this grand oration to all the droids as they're all lined up in rank and file and everybody's organized and all this. Like, not only did they built a flying fortress, their fortress of solitude, if you will, and they've got ships and they got tanks and they got legions of droids, but everybody is like, boom, you know, set up, ready to go. And he comes out and he orates this grand speech of, like, unveiling this defoliator, which I thought was hilarious because I don't know if the droids really care. Like,
I don't understand. Yeah.
Are they programmed to care? Like,
I don't think they are.
Do they listen to just conversation? Or do they, are they just kind of like locked in stand at attention mode until it's like, you go there?
That's what I had the same thought. I don't know what the droids were getting out of this, because all they need to know is that the thing exists and what it does, correct?
Yes. And what it does, since you just asked, is that it's called a defoliator, and it pretty much just torches, disintegrates anything that is quote-unquote organic.
Yes.
It destroys all organic matter, and it leaves machines unharmed, according to Lockthird. So, people, aliens, animals, organic
Plants.
beef, like all of this stuff gone.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So why isn't Lockthird a little more scared of this thing? Like, if it malfunctions or something, like he's wiped out. Later in this episode, he says something like, "Oh no, I'll be defoliated."
Yeah.
But doesn't that mean dead?
Yes. So I think to him, it's still, because they never really send any organics into the battlefield, right?
Right, they just send...
Like, you have your basic droids, you have your super droids, right? On occasion, you'll get Dooku or Grievous in there.
Yeah, we've had a couple of generals. I guess we really haven't had too many, right? This will be like general number 4 that we've seen on the show.
Right, yeah. Because, like, what we talking? Like, Spider Dude?
Oh, 5. So, General Trench is Spider Dude.
Yep.
Loathsome.
Yep.
Dooku.
Grievous.
Dird.
Yeah.
That's
so those are the
5 that I can think of.
Yeah, those
Unless
are the
you
actual
count
organics. Yeah.
Asajj Ventress, is she a general?
I mean, I guess she outranks them, so she would be in the field, right?
Yeah. I know they call her, like... What do the droids call her? Mistress?
Yeah.
Master?
Something like that. Mistress,
Supreme,
maybe?
Supreme Leader? Supreme Leader is what they call her.
Really? I don't
Yeah,
recall
because
that.
we made a comparison to, like, her and Snoke.
Oh, okay.
That was on Ambush back in the day.
So we're going way back then. Oh, boy. As if we weren't going back far enough between these things.
So we've got this, the whole, I need, like, the volunteer gag is what I called it, because Dirt is like, I need 2 volunteers, and all the hundreds of droids step back, except for these 2 stupid-ass droids in the front.
Yeah.
And he's like, and my volunteers are you and you. And then he just sends them out in this field, and then they shoot the fucking rocket at him.
Yeah.
I guess to test it and see if it works.
That's it. Yeah.
Because he does have a little bit of a Skype call to Dooku, where he's like...
Dooku's watching it. Yeah.
We're going to test he says we're going to test our new weapon.
Our new weapon. And Dooku, of course, gives him, like, that glare, like...
Yeah, I don't think Dooku even cares. He's like, whatever, just fucking stop talking. And like I've been
the thing.
I've been holding on Skype here for like ever, so that I'm ready when you're like, turn the hologram on. And that was like 20 minutes ago.
From Dooku's vantage point, what is he looking at? What is he seeing?
Like, can he see the missile and everything?
Yeah, can he see the field?
I think what it is. You remember in Attack of the Clones at the Patronaki Arena, behind the scenes where Dooku is talking to Poggle the Lesser?
Yeah.
Where we see the plans for the Death Star the first time. Like that table that shows like the arena floor. I think that they've got something like that.
Uh-huh.
My question is, at the far end of that table... Is there like an 800-foot tall tree with a little bitty Anakin in it?
That's the other question, right? Like, if it can see all these other things, how is it missing that? But then what is Dooku looking at? And then, again, it's the eye line issue, too, where when the missile does get launched off, Dooku is, like, looking straight ahead from his vantage point. into a field. But then logically he would be standing looking down at a table.
Well, it's an elevated table.
Right. So he's just looking
across
the table.
Yeah, it's like bar height.
Right. Okay. So he's just looking across the table.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah, or the table's at like an angle because he doesn't want tech neck from like looking down all the time.
So the table's elevated and tilted so he can get a good vantage point of the whole thing. Okay.
Yes. I believe that's it. So this thing fires off like a long-range cannon. And it's actually like a projectile weapon because they like load some sort of cartridge in the cannon, right?
Yes.
And then they just kind of tilt it up and it fires and it just shoots out in this big arc. And the droids have their droid banter of, is this thing even going to work? And they're like, oh, don't worry, it's not going to hit us. And then like lands in between them or whatever. So Bly and Rex were like headed that direction to investigate. Yeah. Because they can definitely see everything way better on foot,
through the grass
at eye level than they could from their 800-foot tall tree.
Yep.
But Jedi Master Sakura like grabs a vine and like swings down and picks both of them up, or just Bly?
No, just Bly, because Rex gets his grappling hook off. Bly does as well, but it, for whatever reason, doesn't reach.
Yeah, something happens.
Like it comes undone, it comes loose or something like that. So then, so Isla jumps down, grabs the vine, swings over, picks them back up, and they land on top of the tree again.
Right.
Yeah. And the blast radius stops just short of the tree, which is fortunate, I guess, as well.
It is pretty fortunate.
Because it really should have burned that tree up as well. So, but we at least have, like, there is a limit to this devastation. Like, there is a certain radius out, right? So that much is determined by this test. And the two droids do make it through, So
while I was watching this, this made me think of other of actual chemical weapons that have been used in human warfare. So I looked into that a little bit, and more specifically, like what this made me think of was like Agent Orange.
Yeah.
Which was called a defoliator. And so then I was looking into like how that works, and it's a mixture of phenoxy herbicides, one of which is called 2,4-dichlorophenoxyastic acid, which is totally also known as just 2,4-D, which is in like normal weed control that everybody uses and you can buy.
It's like in Roundup, right? Like it's the stuff in Roundup, right?
No, Roundup is I'm gonna have to think about that one for a second, but 2,4-D is in just like normal weed control. Yeah. It's slipping my mind.
I know. Oh my god, I know what's in Roundup, and it's slipping my mind too. It's
Yeah.
Anyways,
Roundup has been in the news lately for being a cancer-causing agent, which is a lie. There was. This is time for my soapbox, but
do it.
The company that was based in France that did the testing that quote unquote provided the proof that Roundup causes cancer. What they did was they took statements from the scientists doing these tests and essentially just modified them to fit what their end goal was.
Yeah.
And the research isn't actually there.
They're just pulling random
and they're not even
statements.
they're not even taking things and providing them out of context. They're taking things and changing them whole cloth.
Really?
So that it fits what they want to say. Because like the question was, they had provided this question to scientists, like, basically when you provide or when you Fuck, now I gotta... Glyphosate.
That's the one. That's the one.
Glyphosate. So they asked these scientists, like, if you take glyphosate and you, like, inject it into these mice...
Yeah.
And, like, try to give them cancer, does it give them cancer? And the response was essentially 0 times out of however many times they did this. Did it give them cancer? And so they like spliced out pretty much like everything except for the part that said like gave them cancer.
Oh yeah.
When in reality, like the scientists are like, no, it doesn't. And they're like, let's just say that they said yes. And that's what this whole fucking thing is based on.
Yeah, there's a big swath of the nation right now that's, and I understand it completely. We are on a very different soapbox than what we've been talking about, obviously, but you know, this is part of my day job, is talking about some of these things, which is funny because I'm with you. Like, I don't want to, you know, my own self opinion is different than my work opinion, right?
Right.
Or in terms of the company that I work for.
Right. Which is funny because like these products like 2,4-D and dicamba and glyphosate are things that I use in my work nearly on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
But I deal with hippies that I don't disagree with their starting points. It's the end points that they get to.
Right.
That really bug me, right? Like, yes, live healthy, like organics to a point, but like it's one of those weird things where I get in these weird circular arguments with people that people assume I eat organic based on the company I work for, right? And I tell them, like, no, honestly, nothing I eat is organic. And they're like, well, why not?
Well, sure it is. It's just not the organic that they're talking about.
That they're going for, yeah. I'm like, well, I eat, like, fruits and vegetables and stuff, but I'm a cheap motherfucker. I'm not going to pay an extra, like, $1 or whatever it is for each, like, pound of fucking apples. Because to me, there's no nutritional difference. There's no flavor difference. There's no whatever, right?
I bought some, like... no herbicide, earth friendly, no fertilizer, like grown in shit fucking oranges.
Yeah.
And they were terrible.
Yeah.
So then the next time I went to the grocery store, I just bought the big bag that's like spray painted orange, and they were delicious.
Navel and Valencias. Stick with those.
Right.
And also because, look, I live by myself. I don't want to grocery shop all the time. And when I do buy organic, that shit spoils really fucking quickly.
Right.
You know? So I have, like, all these very personal reasons why I don't go organic. And the first thing everybody always tells me is, like, well, if they were the same price, would you? I'm like, I guess. I mean, but they aren't, okay? Like, that's the thing. They are not. So we can have a different conversation when they are. But as of right fucking now, the price point is more important to me than the actual everything else, right? So, anyways, moving back to Star Wars.
Yeah, bringing it back in. The reason that I brought all this up was to say that the basis for some of these really destructive things are not too far from products that are really used every day.
Oh, completely.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
So Dird's all happy with himself, and I got a note that says Dooku equals smiley face. Separatists head to village. So I guess Dooku's happy too. The Separatists head back to the village. I guess they're aggressively going to take over the Lurmen village at this point.
Well, what they called it was that, like, that was a test to see if the bomb would even, like, explode, right? And then now they're going to do a full test, as they call it, on the Lurmen to see how, you know, the test showed that the initial test showed that it does not harm the droids.
Mm-hmm.
Now they want to see the actual destruction that it might cause.
Right.
So that's what they're heading to the Lurmen village for. The Jedi overhear this, or they figure out the plan as they're headed towards, as the Separatists are headed towards the Lurmen.
Yeah, it definitely does seem like they overhear them. So
they're
like formulating this plan, and Ahsoka's like, but they didn't want our help, and then this is the point where Anakin and Isla both educate Ahsoka on doing what is right, not what people want, I guess.
Yeah.
Because he's like, Anakin is basically like, it's a worse decision for us to sit back and do nothing than to go in and try to help them.
Which I personally kind of found off character for Ahsoka. Because Ahsoka,
you would think that she would be like, we gotta go save him, we gotta go save him, we gotta go save him.
Yeah. Like,
right.
I feel like she would be the first one to be like, well, we can't just leave them. Like, that's kind of been her thing this entire series thus far, right? Is kind of sticking her nose in where it doesn't always belong, but it's because it's just what she wants to kind of do. And because she learned from Anakin, that's exactly what you do, right? Like, just do what you feel is the thing to do. That's my understanding of her character up to this point.
Is this supposed to be character growth for her? Is that what this is supposed to be showing? Is it an attempt to show that she has matured a little bit and she is respecting the wishes of these other people, even though she doesn't understand or agree with that? And then that just gets turned back around, and Anakin's like, no, like you're trying to get it, but you're wrong in this instance.
Like, she's trying to take a step forward, but she actually takes a step back, sort of thing.
Or she stays in the same spot, you know?
Yeah. It's I don't know what to call this one. This one is just, it's nothing like terribly offensive in terms of storytelling, but it did just sit with me oddly, right? But I don't know how to quite answer your question, just because the whole thing is weird to me.
Yeah, I feel like when I was watching this, like, it all just ran, like, nice and smooth, and I was like, oh, this is a nice moment, you know, like, the older Jedi use it as a teaching moment for this younger Jedi that's, like, trying to grasp these difficult concepts and just doesn't quite get it. Going back and talking about it, I feel like there's a little more hiccups in it, and we have to grasp a little bit more to get to some deeper understanding.
Yeah, we're making a few leaps of faith here regarding these characters and their opinions at any certain moment, per se. Yeah.
So their plan is to, like, go steal a ship and then head over to the Lurmen village, right? Yeah. And luckily the Lurmen have, like, these like Pandora mothbird things that can, like, communicate with them via something. I don't know. All of a sudden there's, like, this other sentient thing that's
it's essentially like the moth that Gandalf speaks to in Fellowship of the Ring, right, when he's stuck on one of the towers by
I was thinking more, I was trying to, like, make more of an Avatar reference.
Like, I see it as both almost,
as far as, like, the design goes, I guess.
Yeah. Like, it's definitely some creature that doesn't have full, like, self-awareness per se.
Right.
Or self-awareness might not be the right term, but it's, you know, it's a living creature, but it's not going to go, say, order food from Dex's diner.
And it doesn't have the ability to, like, go and sabotage the defoliator.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But it can inconspicuously just flit and fly by undisturbed to it's like a Lassie butterfly.
Basically, yeah. Like, go get help, boy. Like, please. Yeah, and then that's essentially what it does. Yeah.
What's that, Lassie? Anakin is stuck in a tree.
Great. Let's go find that tree.
So at this point it's dark.
Yeah.
And we have the very comical, like, spotlight on the ground sneakery.
Mm-hmm.
As our good guys are sneaking into the
overnight
fortress
base.
Yeah. The pop-up base thing.
Yep, the pop-up base. Yeah, pop-up base is good.
I got a note that says Anakin uses the old follow the rock floating around on the ground trick. And this is enough to trick some of the droids.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ahsoka and Isla do some awesome parkour up and over the wall, and Annie uses his rock and his saber, and there's some fighting, and the droids are stupid. And
yep.
I also had a note that said the droids must be on like sleepy time relax mode or something, because it's I guess it's like a fun like opposite of a prison escape moment, with like the spotlight and the run around and scaling walls and stuff. But
yeah,
if you have to think about it for longer than it takes to watch, like you just have to shake your head or like facepalm or something.
Yeah, like they're just stealing the ship. Like they're just going in, stealing the ship in the least efficient way possible. But that's fine. Yeah. Speaking
of inefficiency, this door that they open in the side of the fortress isn't even at like ground level. Like they have to. It's more like a window, but it's a door. Like there's this giant like chest high thing, like step up that they have to like go crawl over. I guess maybe this is just a part of like the whole pop up design of this fortress.
Yeah, that like they built it overnight, man. Like not everything is gonna be to spec. Okay,
hey, it is flawless. Do you not remember?
The security is flawless.
Clearly not, because they just ran around the spotlights and used the floaty rock trick to jump up over the wall and open the window door.
And they got in, no problem. Yeah. I don't know why they couldn't have done this before, but sure, yeah. Waited until nightfall, sure.
We also have some droid humor where one of the droids is like, we don't want any surprises. And complete fail, because they like turn their back and like everybody just like tiptoes past them in silhouette.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do remember at some point, and I don't know if I have it in my notes, but Ahsoka's like, you see Ahsoka's shadow like running along a wall, and she straight takes out like one or two droids, and it's all in silhouette. Like you don't see the actual action happening, but you see it pantomimed through silhouette on the wall, and I really, really dug that moment. I thought that was awesome. So that took me like past this corniness of walking around the perimeter of the spotlight, hitting the ground, and elevated it up like this light humor. Good.
Yeah,
that works.
Like, it's hitting a fine level of humor, because we've talked about this before. Sometimes it's a little not funny to me, I guess. Like sometimes this stuff works.
Yeah,
like, I agree. This stuff does work, and it hits that balance fine. Where the droids aren't being obnoxiously stupid per se. Like they are being dumb, but I don't know. Like they aren't being so dumb.
Yeah, at least there's not the turn on the spotlight. I don't know how. Where's the button? Oh, show it to me. Oh, you turn the light on. It's in my eyes. I can't see.
Yeah,
and
like
then
the
they both
thing
like
that would be their normal job.
They fall off the top of the wall or something.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just like a nice mellow level of humor that's there, right? And then we move on, to the overtaking of the flawless space, the pop-up flawless space. So,
yep. Yeah. So we cut away from these. We cut away from the heroes for a minute, and we cut back to Wag-2 and Tiwat Ka, who have received their little moth thing message.
Yes. Yeah.
And at this point they are arguing the ideals of war/defense, and Tiwat Ka's like, we will not change our ways no matter what. And then Wag-2 is like, you can tell that he's got this like little seed of an idea inside of him where he's like, nah, we're gonna defend ourselves, even if the old man doesn't agree with it. So this is the younger generation like going against the older generation of one, apparently, Because there doesn't really seem to be any other tribe elders or anything like that. It's just Tiwat-Ka,
so.
right?
Yeah. It's Tiwat-Ka, there's Wag-2 as his son, and we don't really... We get introduced to, like, his friend, but they aren't anything beyond
named,
that.
Right?
Yeah, they're nothing beyond that.
So thinking about it now, I find it interesting that in a civilization that is staunchly against interfering in essentially the fate of anything or anyone else, and they're not going to fight, they're just going to accept their destiny as it lies, but have somebody that is a leader in any way.
Yeah.
That seems contrary to the basis of their belief system. Like Tiwat-Ka is able to say, no, like, this is what we all think, so this is what we all have to do, and what we are going to do is not try to do anything to affect anybody else, even though I'm going to try to do everything in my power to keep you from doing what seemingly is like your destiny, which is like growing beyond the restrictions of our thought process. But then he also talks about how I don't remember if it was in the last episode or this episode, like they came to that planet looking for like peace and freedom, essentially.
I think that's the previous episode, but I recall that being brought up.
And I don't know if we talked about it, but I don't know if it's, was it this specific group of Lurmen, or is this like Lurmen way in the past that came here, and this is like the lore that they've been brought up on? Like, there's too many troubles out there with all the outsiders, and that's why we came here, to isolate ourselves and just to live at peace.
These are good points you bring up, because I didn't make the connection that, because in the previous episode they only really introduced Tiwat-Ka as like, he's the healer originally, isn't he?
Yeah, he was the healer in the last episode that rubbed some rocks on Anakin's chest armor, and then Anakin like didn't have a headache anymore.
Yeah,
and could breathe.
So like he was never positioned then as like the elder that kind of keeps watch over everybody, right? But then in this one he definitely is.
Definitely.
And I didn't think about how that idea is at opposition with itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is an interesting point you bring up there, but at the same time, your second point, I had the sense, and I have no proof for it, but I felt like this is a tribe / culture / family that have been here for a while, like
generations, not
like these aren't the actual refugees themselves, right? Like these are the descendants of refugees that ended up here. I have no proof for that. It's because like you have to remember in the last one, like people were like carving onto like the bark or whatever that Ahsoka found.
Yeah. So and
like
she's like, "Oh, somebody smart must live here. There's like a stick figure next to a giant tree."
Yeah, and then they almost get crushed by the pods and stuff, right?
Yes.
So
there must be 2 giant trees here.
Yeah, they're around, right?
One with the pod and one that overlooks
literally everything on the planet, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a good thing we brought up the pods, because that will come in handy later. Soon, actually, right?
Yeah, so let's kind of speed forward to that. Yeah. Our heroes do end up stealing a ship, which is a sheathipede. And Peter from Rebels, who was on episode 19, Dooku Captured, brought up the sheathipede, brought that to our attention, because I just thought it was like, whatever. It's a shuttle.
Yeah.
But it's like, I guess, specific enough to be named, and it's got its own Wikipedia and all kinds of stuff. So if you want to hear more about that, you can hop back a couple episodes to when the Rebels dudes were on with us because that was a lot of fun. Give that one a listen to. Learn more about sheathpedes. The good guys come in and somehow beat the Separatists there, even though it was like the Separatist idea.
Yeah.
Like they built this fortress overnight, but it takes them longer to get there. I guess I get there first because their ship got stolen. They can't fly over there. So that makes sense.
I guess, yeah. So they make their way into the Lurmen village, yeah.
And then there's a little argument back and forth on why the Jedi are there. Because Anakin's like, the Separatists are coming to attack you. And Tiwat Ka's like, yeah, but I told you to go. Yeah. And he blames them like, if it wasn't for you, they wouldn't be here. And
he keeps talking about how he wants to do nothing.
Right. And Anakin's like, they don't care that you are peaceful. They don't care that we're here. They're just here to kill you is what they want to do. And Tiwat Ka's like, nope, not leaving.
Yep. Like, that's fine. If we die, we die. That's how it is.
Yeah, and Anakin's like, they got this new weapon that's just going to fucking wipe you out. Like, there is no defense against it. Like, let us help you. Anakin is like,
we can literally stop this. We can stop you from dying. And Tiwat Ka's like, no, it's just what's supposed to happen.
It's just destiny.
Yeah. So that shit is annoying. So then, nonetheless, the Jedi still try to help. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where WOG 2 and some other Lurmen are not bearing arms because they don't have weapons, but they do
have some, like,
they got like sticks and maybe farming tools,
something. Yeah, like they're holding something when WOG 2 is like, no, we're gonna fight. Like, we'll help you. This is what we got, but we'll help you out. So then the Jedi start. Here's where the pods come in handy. They start building a wall of pods around the village to keep the Separatists out. So the other thing that they also brought with them from the base are a couple shield generators. So,
oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so shield generators came along with it. It's one of those weird things that kind of really quickly happens. They're like, oh, hey, shield generators. We should probably bring those along. Great.
Yeah, is this where they're just like levitating boxes that are like floating around and they can like jump through the air with them in a weird fashion?
I don't know.
Or is that another time?
I don't recall, honestly. I just know they grabbed shield generators. So at first, the shield generators aren't activated. They just build the wall of pods first. And then Lock Durd looks upon it and goes, what are they going to do with the fucking pods? Like, that's just stupid. Great. Fire the fucking missile. Like, pod's not going to stop shit.
Yeah, my note was that the army itself doesn't even look that large compared to, like, what was at the base, right?
Yeah.
And then Rex, like, looks through his viewfinder or T-visor or something. He was like, oh, we got 8 minutes tops. Like, very specific.
Yeah.
8 minutes. So then I looked up, okay, 8 minutes is a unit of time. Like, how far does this translate into how far away they are? And the average marching speed for an army is like 3 miles an hour. So that works out to like 0.4 miles or like 643 meters. So they're less than a half a mile away.
Yeah. That's fairly close. Yeah. But they're in tanks that are rolling by, right? Like,
yeah, but they're still like the ground army is still marching.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so I guess they have to get their weapon close enough that it will fire the distance to the village.
Yeah, there is a range to this missile that appears very heavy and it's like very metallic, you know?
Yeah, the missile is actually like, what fires it is like one of their normal tanks that they drive around. It's a DDT tank.
Mm-hmm.
That is just modified with like the defoliator on top. So it's a specially modified armored assault tank. And I guess it's just like a one-off, but I'm looking at the Wikipedia article, and it does not specify like what the range of this this projectile is. So we can, at least right now, we can say that it is less than 0.4 miles. Yeah. So it cannot shoot more than 643 meters.
Okay. That's a good figure, I think. That's a good starting figure. So the thing gets fired off, right? And then while that happens, they turn on the shield generators. The defoliator does not penetrate the shield, which allows Tiwat Ka to see the mayhem that would have ensued, essentially.
Right, the actual destruction.
Yeah. So then the droids start engaging, and WAG 2 helps them out, right?
Yep.
Or helps the Jedi hold them back. The Jedi defeat the first wave, and everybody's like, oh, that was easy. But then a second wave comes through the shield, right?
Yeah, because it's... so the way that... And I always bitch about shields, right?
Yeah.
But I like the way that these shield generators work.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that they kind of shoot up in this weird arch to, like, make a dome.
Mm-hmm.
That's bizarre. But other than that, what they're designed for is to stop... like the quick moving.
Yeah, like any heavy laser fire or artillery fire.
Yeah, it's essentially like when something's moving fast and I don't know what the breakoff speed is, it stops that. It absorbs the energy. But if you're moving at like walking pace, you can just you can walk through it. Yeah. But I would imagine that maybe an Olympic sprinter would hit it like a brick wall.
I agree. That's my feeling as well.
Yeah, and there's actually a pretty cool moment where when the good guys are in retreat, Rex is like backing in through the shield. Yeah. And he's on the inside and the muzzle of his gun is still on the outside, so he's still able to squeeze off like 2 or 3 more shots before he pulls his gun inside, because once his gun's inside, he's fucked. He can't like there's no more defense until at that point they have to wait until the droids make it through the shield to start fighting them again.
Yes. So I like that detail too. It just did bring up more questions for me. Like if you had a tank position there, so the shield isn't going through the muzzle, I'm assuming then.
No.
Or is it?
No, because so like if you stuck like a pool floaty, like a round pool floaty with the hole in the middle, or a tire or something. Yeah. If you put that in there, you would have a hole in the shield because it would just go all the way around
through
it.
That. Okay.
Right, because it comes. It's kind of like a sheet of water, right? Yeah. So if you stick something round that's hollow through, like a waterfall at the aquatic park or whatever, the water will go around it. Now, in the case of water, there's going to be like a cone shape underneath that the water doesn't like come back to. Yeah. But in the case of these shields, it just hits it and it goes around it.
Closes
and then
back
it'll
up.
Be hollow in the middle. Okay. So feasibly, you could park a tank inside as long as it had a long enough barrel to
just keep shooting through.
To project, or if it had a long enough barrel to extend past the edge of the shield, you could have your tank inside and be firing away outside.
Okay, that makes sense. I will agree with that logic, because that is essentially what is on display. Like, it was one of those things that kind of happened really quickly, and then it's that all makes sense. That's essentially what happens. But what I'm just curious about is what's stopping Rex from just kind of parking there initially to keep shooting through, right?
So I think that it is an issue of when the muzzle of your gun is. Are you talking about with his rifle?
His rifle.
Yeah. So once the muzzle of your gun is through that, you can't reorient where you're shooting quickly.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
he's stuck on a fixed axis of
kind of.
Yeah, where that
he can probably move it around a little bit, but you've got the resistance of the shield.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So it's a blessing and a curse. Like,
okay, that makes sense.
This is the most that I've defended shields in the past 22 episodes.
Yeah.
but I do like the way that it works. So we also in this segment we've got a really awesome attack by all the Jedi, right? And they're like, using some force speed and just mowing down droids and stuff. They're aggressively moving towards the defoliator for a point, and then at one point I think Anakin tells everybody to retreat, and then it's just him progressing forward, right?
Yes, yeah, he alone continues the charge towards trying to destroy the defoliator, yes.
And he eventually takes out a whole bunch of droids, and then gets to Lockdurd, who kind of turns around and tries to run away, and you get the forced joke where Anakin like picks him up and his legs are just running and he's just running in place, and this is where he's like, "Oh, help me, I'll be defoliated." So this was directed by Stuart Lee, and I do not know too much about Stuart Lee, but in the behind the scenes stuff, what Dave Filoni was talking about with him is that he directs these really dynamic action sequences, and like each player in this cast, all of the heroes have their own specific like action oriented badass little moment, and this is the segment that I think the rest of this episode was kind of designed around from a directorial position, because like Ahsoka's got her moment, Isla Sakura's got hers. Anakin by far has the biggest, where he's like supercharging full speed ahead into the battle.
Yes.
To save the day.
For sure.
So I think that's kind of where all this stuff was built from. But moving forward, Lockdurd has been captured. What do we got after that? Hey, the Lurmen are carrying some more baskets.
Yeah, more baskets. Baskets filled with droid parts this time, right? And then Wag 2 finally just has one final stand against Tiwat Ka, and was like, "Look, like the Jedi helped us. They defended us. We defended ourselves, and we're not dead. Like, clearly things can be done." And annoyingly, Tiwat Ka has like the last statement of the episode where he's like, "Yes, but I still don't think..." I don't know exactly what he says.
He says, "But at what cost?" And when he says this, he looks up and we see two good guy Star Destroyers like coming into atmosphere.
Yeah.
So I get what he's saying there. He's like, yeah, this all worked, but we got another army here on our backs again. Like, what was the point of fighting these guys to be free? Because now we got this other army that's going to chill, stick around, and make sure that we remain free.
Yeah. I still don't see his point at the end of this episode, though. Like, it was a moment that just struck me so off chord, because nothing in the rest of the episode really supports what he has to say right here to me. Like, I get... In your explanation of it, I feel more of what they might have been going towards, but just when I was watching the episode, like, they just got their asses saved, but here he is still, like, kind of backhanding his saviors, right? Like,
right.
You know, like, thanks for the help, but go fuck yourselves, right? Like, you know.
Yeah, I think it really was just an issue of the fact that, you know, if the Republic had been there like an hour later, 20 minutes later, like not right when they're having this conversation, it could have been like, hey, we came to collect all of our people, you know, do you guys need any help? Then we'll be out of here. But it definitely, from his perspective, he sees, okay, one enemy is defeated, and then now we got another group of people that are with another army that have come to our planet.
Yeah. But again, it's just like the idea that he's helpless in all of this. That's just the part I'm having trouble
It's unfortunate that he is helpless by design.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's like he has designed himself to be helpless, like, and to be helpless, and he doesn't see himself as helpless. He sees himself as, I guess, enlightened, or on the path of the righteous, whereby he is more free, controlling himself by just accepting the fact that whatever is going to happen is going to happen. I think this is scratching the surface of trying to be philosophical, but falling short on that.
Yeah. It's just like the ideas don't connect for me. It's like the Shaolin monks meditated for enlightenment,
right,
and peace within yourself and stuff like that.
Right.
Nonetheless, they still knew how to fight, right? Like,
right, when
a
necessary.
Shaolin monk could fucking kick your teeth out, right? Like,
yeah, as opposed to Tiwat Ka, who is just like, no, if we just literally do nothing, then we're in the best position for everything.
Yeah. And, like, not even literally do nothing, not even have the skills to do anything, right?
Well, I might disagree with you there, because they do have some skills. Do you remember, like, the last series of droids that are killed in this episode?
Mm-mm.
So Tiwat Ka's like, or one of the other Lurmen is like rolling around, weaving in and out of all these droids, right? And he's got like this cable, and so you're thinking he's like wrapping it around their feet, and you're thinking, oh, they're gonna do like a trip joke, right?
Yeah.
And then so he gets through all these, and then there's a loop on the end of it, and he like fires it off in the air, and then there's another Lurmen that's got like a pitchfork or some shit, and he throws the pitchfork, and it catches the loop on the end of this rope, and as it's flying through the air, it like tightens, sticks in the ground, and pulls taut and knocks all these droids down.
Yeah.
Neatly in a circle, and then Ahsoka just drops her lightsaber down and just runs in a circle and just decapitates all of these fucking droids.
Yep.
So I think I don't know if you can argue that they have like zero skill, because obviously they do have some.
The younger generation took it upon themselves to do something, but Tiwat Ka specifically seems to have no skills besides being the healer. He was the healer. But in terms
Tiwat Ka wasn't, like, his son was. His son was the healer.
Oh shit, you're right. Wag 2 is the healer. Yeah. So then what the fuck is Tiwat Ka doing? Like, right? Like, so
I have a question for you, but I'm gonna save it until after I get your thumbs up, thumbs down.
Okay.
So
basically,
do that.
This ends the episode. Right?
That's the end of the episode. Is when these good guy Star Destroyers come in, and Tiwat Ka says, "But at what cost?"
Cue loud music.
Cue loud music.
Cue loud music. Okay, so do you want to start with thumbs up, thumbs down? You want me to start? What do you?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Despite all of our bickering,
you're gonna do it, aren't you?
I'm gonna stay with a thumbs up.
All right.
I'm going with a thumbs up. The episode, in the moment, wasn't terribly offensive. The fact that we've been sitting here for 90 minutes picking it apart, I'm gonna try and be more lenient on it, because we are diving into really pedantic shit here.
Right.
But on the whole, it still is an entertaining episode.
Okay.
The Tiwat Ka issue is an issue that I had watching the whole episode, but it doesn't destroy the episode. It's still an entertaining, 23 minutes of television that occur. There are some cool set pieces. George Takei is freaking amazing,
Okay.
But so it's a barely thumbs up, but it's there. It's a good one. Yeah. So yourself?
That makes me happy. That's awesome. I give it a thumbs up as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I really like in this episode. I think it flows well. I think that between the last episode and this one, it's a good two-parter. And
yes, I agree.
And often what we've seen in this series is that the multi-episodic story arcs would have been better if they had been combined down from 3 to 2 or 2 to 1, or a lot of times you can eliminate some of the stuff in the 2-part story arcs. These two, I think, work well together. I think the Jedi Crash is a good setup for Defenders of Peace. I think there are some good things that are attempted to be explored in this episode. There is that little bit of, is this philosophical, or is there, are they reaching for a deeper meaning here? But it's hard to do in the second part of a 2-part episode. There's more to this than just the surface. 22 minutes of have some Jedi, have some clones, blow some shit up. We need a fight. Right, here's a lightsaber. There's a ship. Fortune cookie at the beginning, credits at the end.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point too. I despite making that reference, as a 2-parter, each part, we brought this up at the end of the last episode as well. That was a story that, for sure, that story concluded there.
Right.
There are still overarching issues that get picked up here, but then this also begins its own standalone story. It hits that balance really well of having a small arc closed while having a big arc complete between 2 episodes.
Right.
Because what's the one, the Lair of Grievous episode is the one that ends like super awkwardly because whatever.
No, Dooku captured.
Dooku captured. Okay.
Dooku
the one with the
ends,
rebels. That's right.
Yeah, Dooku captured ends with the poisoning and the old drink switcheroo, and Anakin and Obi-Wan drink, and their 2 drinking buddy neighbors just die, and like that's the end of it.
That's it, the end. But like it opens up a thing that was not ever set up before, and it was unnecessary.
And they end up like drunk in jail anyway, and Obi-Wan's like, "Oh, we were drugged," but so
it was unnecessary setup.
Yeah, don't have the switcheroo. Just like let them be drugged, and then you're like, "Oh fuck, what happened?"
Yes, exactly. So, as the story in these 2 episodes, individually and together, I think they did a really good job, for sure.
Yeah, because remind me, at the end of Jedi Crash from last week, they meet the Lurmen. Anakin is treated. And then at the very end of the episode, it's basically Tiwat-Ka like, okay, we helped your buddy, like you need to leave, right? Or is it
not even? No. So he helps them out, and then it cuts to Ahsoka and Isla by themselves because
that's right.
Because the big growth in the last one was Ahsoka kind of trying to call some shots that didn't make sense, like she wanted to split up or whatever, and Ayla was like, "Hey, we have to stay together because we don't know what's here. None of us have been to this planet. We don't know what's here."
Right. Like, sticking together gives us a better opportunity to save the one you love.
Exactly. Whereas Ahsoka's like, "No, we need to spread out and blah blah blah." I'm like, "Yeah, but how are you supposed to? How do we know when to come back or what happens? And like, if somebody doesn't come back, then do we go looking for them? Like, where do we start? Right?"
Right.
So, the problem at hand was helping Anakin, and they helped him, right?
Right. Okay. Awesome. Do you feel like we saw some growth in Ahsoka's character throughout this episode?
In this one, I would say less so.
Okay, so in this 2-parter story arc.
In the first half, yes. And
in the
then
second half, not as much.
Yeah, like her story was told there, and then this one it shifts from the Jedi to the Lurmen more. Again, I still have trouble with
Tiwat-Ka. Right.
But at least the focus is there, right?
So do you feel like Tiwatka's character had any growth at all?
I personally don't. That's my only major gripe with this episode.
I don't either.
Yeah.
So the question that I was going to ask you before we got to thumbs up, thumbs down, do you feel that this episode would have resonated more with you if at the end there was some crazy turn of events, like when Yoda fights Dooku, where Tiwatka like just crazy fucking force jumps or does some shit, and it's his actions that are what brings Loch Durd into incarceration? Like, would it be better if he made an active decision to do something that affected the things that were going on around him in a positive way?
Yes. I don't need him to single-handedly bring down Loch Durd or whatever. Even if it was something as simple as just like helping other villagers out or something, or just not being such a whiny bitch towards the end of it, right?
Like what if he would have caught the pitchfork and gave it the tug to like knock all the droids down?
Yeah, like that would have been enough, right? Like that would have been enough. Just something via his actions that show me that there is some sort of change, but the fact that he's just sidelined the whole time, and Wag-2 and his buddies are all off doing the thing. I see the growth in this episode for sure being with Wag-2.
Okay.
Right. From being just a follower of Tiwatka to being like, yo, buddy, your thoughts are fucking retarded. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to pitchfork this shit up. So,
Yeah, and I think through him, I think he is a representative of the Lurmen in general.
Yeah.
So I think this is a step forward for all Lurmen.
Mm-hmm. And Tiwatka is like the loud minority, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. Or he was like was like the previous generation of ideals, and through this altercation and everything, the voice of the rest of the Lurmen were able to be personified through the actions of Wag-2.
Mm-hmm.
And so that as a species or as a tribe or whatever, family, whatever you want to call them, group of sentient lemur people, they were able to take a step forward because of because of all of this shit that happened in the past 2 days or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Second question.
Mm-hmm.
Did having George Takei voice Loch Durd enhance things for you?
I don't think it did. It didn't make a difference, but he just has a good voice. It works, It's definitely one of those noticeable voices, but it didn't pull me out of the episode per se. It was just like a fun, like, oh, that's cool, like,
right.
Yeah, because the way this show works, anyways, there's so many meta references to outside universe sort of things, right? So just having George Takei in there, it's cool. It's just nice that he's a part of this universe,
Right. I feel like he's been associated with Star Wars in more ways than just Loch Durd, but I could be wrong.
Has he?
I don't know.
Yeah, the dude helmed the Enterprise, right? So it's fun seeing him in this universe. So
I do wish that they would have gotten Oh My in there.
Just one.
Just one.
I don't know. Does he show back up anytime later in the series? We'll find out, I guess, as we go along.
I guess we will find out.
Yeah. But any final thoughts on this episode? We're doing decent on time compared to our last few episodes. So.
Yeah, we're doing real good on time. It does look like this is the only appearance of Loch Durd.
Well then.
In the Clone Wars. And the other canon appearance is in Catalyst, a Rogue One novel.
Man, I have that book too. I need to read that now, knowing that Loch Durd is in it. I have many Star Wars books, and I have read very few of them. So, but I can recommend Guardians of the Whills.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick that one up.
Yeah, knowing you, it will take you literally maybe like a night and a half to read it. So,
if our listeners want to make any suggestions to us, how would they do that?
They can email us at notthenerdspodcast@gmail.com. You can also contact Kevin's in charge of our Twitter at nottthenerds. We also have a Facebook at nottthenerds. And those are probably the best ways.
Yeah, Facebook is Not the Nerds Podcast.
Dang it. Got that. Yeah. Okay.
I am looking into signing us up for some other social media stuff, so maybe that'll be coming in the future. Nottthenerds.com is still under construction, so that is coming. Yeah. And so
let us know.
I think internet presence-wise, that's what we got for now.
Yeah.
So,
and then trying to think of what else. No. Anyways, just distracting myself because Kevin and my recording schedule is all out of whack, so I'm just trying to plan ahead of what we got. But we're good. I think we're okay. There shouldn't be anything.
Yeah.
To discuss.
What day is this episode?
This will be on the 18th, I believe. Next week.
Yep.
This will be next week's. Because just behind the curtain, this is our first recording in about, what'd you say, 37 days? 37
days.
Yeah,
so I had to take some time off because my wife had a baby and she's actually 2 weeks old today.
Yep. Yeah, he had a good reason. I also traveled for work, but your reason's definitely more important to take time off for.
So we're going to be squeezing in some recording here.
Yeah, because I am also going on vacation next week, but from the listener standpoint, that shouldn't matter. We're going to hopefully still have episodes coming out every Wednesday.
We will, Lorenzo.
Yeah, we definitely will. I'm still paying attention to any Resistance news that will happen because we're going to try and fold that in as well.
Yeah, I guess there was a little bit of Resistance news earlier this week, and it was some image from what I saw was like an image from like a PowerPoint in, what was it, like Germany or France or
something like that, yeah.
And it basically just had like 2 character sets on them, just like headshots of 2 sets of characters, like the good guys and the bad guys. And it looked like front and center for the bad guys was Phasma.
Oh, interesting. I didn't see that part.
And then there was also, I don't know if that's true. I could be speaking out of my ass on that because I didn't read the entire article.
It was a long article. I saw Jim Rash is in the cast, so.
Yeah, and there are Red First Order troopers, which are going to be pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is like any relation to the Praetorian Guards.
Yeah.
Or not. I don't really know.
Or the Adidas hip-hop stormtrooper.
Ooh, that could be too. And then on the good guys side, you did see an image of Poe Dameron. But this is like a picture that was taken of like a projection of
like something insider meeting or something like that, right? Like it wasn't at some like fan event or anything. I don't recall. So the other
I may try to tweet that out when this episode comes out, but by then it's probably old news anyway. Yeah, and I saw that it said it had like locked down a release date, but then skimming through the article, I didn't see an actual release
I didn't
date,
see anything.
So I don't really know.
So as we're midway through summer now, especially by the time this thing releases. So we're looking forward towards fall schedule of TV show releases, and so we'll go from, I believe we spoke about going from 1 episode per week to just folding in Resistance whenever that thing gets released. And
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna try to do that.
Yeah, because like with Clone Wars, we can keep banking up episodes, but I think it'd be fun to try and remain somewhat current with the Resistance stuff if we can schedule that all out properly. So
yeah, maybe we can throw the Resistance stuff out on. I don't know if it'll be Wednesdays or weekends or what. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, and it looks like we'll be coming to that around October
time. Yeah.
So.
Right. The only other big news that my friend has iMessaged me during the episode is the Hollywood Reporter is confirming Billy D. Williams for episode 9. So
I have heard the rumor of Billy D. Williams.
Yep.
So spoiler alert, retroactively about 30 seconds ago.
So yeah, just I mean, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be a week old. So it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. Anyways, the only
Lorenzo spoiling shit.
It's fine. I mean, it would have come out in the trailers or something, you know.
I wasn't going to watch the trailer this time. I'm going to go to Celebration in Chicago next year, and I'm going to wear my noise-canceling headphones and cover my eyes, and Lorenzo...
I will be next to you, iMessaging you.
Lorenzo will watch the trailer, and I will not watch the trailer live.
Yeah. I'll probably lose my voice is what's happening. So, yeah, like, shit. We have gone long enough without recording that Celebration tickets have gone on sale and all that.
Yeah, so we are going to Celebration Chicago next year.
Yes, yeah. I got my tickets for all 5 days? Is that what that is?
Yeah, Lorenzo got 5 days. I got 2 days, so...
What days did you get again?
Friday, Saturday.
Oh, good days. Okay.
So, we'll talk logistics on that when we get closer to it, and
for sure.
Let you know where you can meet us. We'll do a meet and greet by the pole in the
if
parking
anybody
garage.
Cares. Yeah. You'll find us in the food court, likely. Yeah, just find us in the food court.
Find where they sell hot dogs, and I will be there. Especially like the European hot dogs, which is like. A longer, skinnier hot dog crammed into a baguette.
Like I'm a fan of the like any of the brats, you know, any bratwurst, giant sausages with sauerkraut on them. So
those are good too.
Yeah,
and we'll be in Chicago, so Chicago style dogs.
Yep, returning home to my Midwest roots, Chicago. So,
oh my!
The last things, as we tend to do, is we want to give our thanks to Kevin Warren, who did our artwork. You can find him on Twitter at TheyCallMeKdub, and also Lindsay at StrangeFantasyMusic@gmail.com.
That is correct.
Those are correct. It's been 37 days since I've said those. So.
It's been a while. So thanks to both of you guys for help making this thing happen.
Yeah.
And
okay,
we'll quit jibber jabbering and talk to you next week, nerds.
Bye.